And as you do so, I also invite you to take out your worship folder, and on pages 5 and 6, there's a sermon outline so you can follow along and see where we're going today. Today, of course, is Palm Sunday, a great, awesome celebration in the life of the church. And as we all know, when Jesus came into Jerusalem triumphantly, he was greeted with palm branches. You may wonder, well, why palm branches? Palm branches were the ancient sign of victory. Victory, that's what Palm Sunday is all about. Complete and total victory. Many of our St. Michael members know that during Lent, we have been in a sermon series called Blessed Be the Name of the Lord. It's all on the book of Job. And this is now the 12th, that's right, 12th sermon in this sermon series on the book of Job. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Job has 42 chapters, and we've made it all the way. Congratulations, you've made it to chapter 41. Chapter 41. And Job chapter 41 is also all about victory. Complete and total victory. Over who? You know, the old evil foe, who still, just here, just now, means deadly woe. Job 41 this morning, let's get started. He was a professional thief. His name stirred terror throughout the Wild West. His name was synonymous with a tornado-like bandit who would sweep in and take all your money. This bandit terrorized the Wells Fargo stage line, even bringing the most rugged Western frontiersmen to their knees. This bandit came away from 1875 to 1883 with hundreds of thousands of dollars that he stole from stagecoaches. No victim ever saw him. No artist ever sketched him. And no sheriff ever tracked his trail. If you know anything about the Wild West, you know what his nickname is. Black Bart. Black Bart. They didn't know who he really was, so they just called this bloodthirsty bandit simply Black Bart. The book of Job introduces us to another Black Bart of the soul. He also comes to kill and steal and destroy, but he wants more than just our money. No, make no mistake about it. This Black Bart wants everything. If you've ever felt shame and disgrace, it was his voice that crushed your heart. If you've ever felt lonely and abandoned, it was all according to his plan. If you've ever felt useless and no good, it was his accusing finger in your face. He's the Black Bart of the soul. And he truly comes to kill and steal and destroy everything. In the book of Job, he shows up as Satan, doesn't he? We know by now, St. Michael members know, Satan is simply a Hebrew word that means accuser. Oh, and he loves to accuse. And in Job chapters 1 and 2, Satan is so full of himself, isn't he? Taunting God and mocking Job's faith. But did you notice that after Job chapters 1 and 2, Satan, the accuser, vanishes from the book? He just simply disappears into thin air. Satan never appears as Satan by that name again in the book of Job. What's up with that? Well, brace yourselves, because he's back, full throttle, in Job chapter 41. Only he comes with another name, the name of Leviathan. Leviathan? You say, who in the world is Leviathan? I'm so glad you asked. Leviathan. Leviathan deals with death. You need to understand that where Leviathan is, there is always death. Job actually mentions Leviathan in his death wish. In Job chapter 3, verse 8, things are so terrible for Job that Job wishes he had never been born. He wishes he was dead. And he connects this death wish with the doctor of death, Leviathan. Leviathan is also a slithering serpent. The word Leviathan appears 6 times, only 6 times in the Old Testament. But 2 of those 6 would be in Isaiah 27, verse 1, where we have Leviathan, and he's connected with a serpent, a slithering, sly, seductive snake serpent. And you know where the serpent first appears in the Bible, right? It's up there for you. Genesis 3, verse 1. Oh, and the world was never the same again. This Leviathan is most certainly the doctor of death, but he is a sly and cunning and slippery serpent. Oh, but there's still more. Leviathan is a deadly dragon. And that brings us to our first reading from Job chapter 41 this morning. What a strange creature, right? He's got billows of smoke coming out of his nose, and he's got flashes and flames of fire streaming out of his eyes and ears and mouth. He is most certainly a supernatural creature who can be likened to a deadly dragon. And these 3 images, dragon, serpent, Satan, all come together in Revelation chapter 12, verse 9, where John writes, the great dragon, that's the dragon of Job 41, was hurled down, that ancient serpent. There's the serpent of Isaiah 27:1 and Genesis 3, verse 1, who is called the devil or Satan. There's the Satan, the accuser of Job, 1 and 2. And so finally, we understand completely the identity of this Leviathan in Job 41. He is most certainly the dragon, that ancient serpent, and he is devil and Satan. And at the end of Job chapter 41, this Leviathan is described with these words, on earth is not his equal. You see, there's no one on planet Earth like him. Make no mistake about this either. There's no one like this dragon, this ancient serpent, who's devil and Satan. On earth is not even close his equal. Martin Luther picked up on this, didn't he? Right? Martin Luther is his famous hymn, Ein feste Burg in unser Gott, for all of you off-Deutsch people here this morning. A mighty fortress is our God, right? One of the greatest hymns in Christendom. And Luther uses these words, doesn't he? To describe Leviathan. He also uses other words, doesn't he? To describe this fire-breathing dragon. Though devils all the world should fill, all eager to devour us, this world's prince may still scowl fierce as he will. With dread, craft, and might, he arms himself to fight. And then Luther quotes from, of all places, Job 41:23. 33, that is. On earth is not his equal. You see him, don't you? You see this dragon, this chaos monster in your rear view mirror, don't you? I know I do. I feel his hot breath upon my neck, screaming at me with all kinds of juicy temptations. Do you have some anger floating around out there this morning? The dragon says, act it out. Do you have some juicy gossip against her? Oh, she deserves it. Let it fly. Do you have some sexual fantasies out there? Rip, strip, and unzip. As deceiver, then he comes to us and says, there are no commandments. That's old stuff. And there are no consequences. You deserve it. Put the pedal to the metal. Ready, set, go. As tempter, it looks so good and so deserving. As deceiver, it's rightfully mine. And when I sin, then he comes as accuser, as Satan, and he puts his foot on my neck and he says, now that you have thought that, smoked that, shot that, seen that, said that, done that, God is finished with you. In just a matter of seconds, he's got me right where he wants me, in total despair. I am walking along, whistling a happy tune, and then, in the twinkling of an eye, I wonder, where did that thought come from? You're a pastor, you shouldn't think that. Where did that word come from? That just destroyed that person. Where did that action come from? And then I hear that accusing voice again. God, read Lessing, God is finished with you. But remember, it's Palm Sunday, and Palm Sunday is all about victory. Complete and total victory over this old evil foe who just here, just now, means deadly woe. And Job 41 is also about this victory. In Job chapters 38 through 41, God asked Job 70 questions. 70, remember that from last week? Here are some more of the 70 regarding Leviathan. In Job 41, God is asking Job, can you pull in Leviathan with the fish hook or tie down his tongue with a rope? Can you put a cord through his nose or pierce his jaw with a hook? Can you make a pet of him like a bird or put him on a leash for your girls? Can you fill his hide with harpoons or his head with fishing spears? You understand that the answers for Job is no. I can't do that, God. But you understand, for God, the answer is absolutely yes. God can and God does. God has absolute control over Leviathan, and the harpoons and the spears are on their way, which implies that Satan is who? The Colonel Klink of the Bible. How many of you remember Hogan's Heroes? Just show of hands. So the choir doesn't know it all, let me tell you, all right? Back in the day, there was a TV show called Hogan's Heroes. It was all about these prisoners in World War II who were part of a German prison camp. And Colonel Klink there on the left, he was the commandant, right? He thought he ran everything. But those in the know understood that the guy on the right, the prisoner, Colonel Hogan called the shots, right? So Klink would posture and pose. But Hogan, had all the power, just so Leviathan may posture and pose in all of his pompous pride. But God, our God, has the power, all the power. There is a devil, Martin Luther would say quite often, but he is God's devil. Meaning what? That he's the Colonel Klink. That the devil thinks he's in charge. But he's absolutely wrong. What does Job chapter 41 say? God holds Leviathan like you would a little pet. And God has Leviathan on a leash, and the harpoons and spears are still on their way. How's he going down? Let's take a look. In the book of Job, chapter 1, verse 6, we see where Satan has complete access to God's throne. It's how the book begins, right? One day the angels came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came with them. Satan came to mock Job and accuse Job, but that's in the Old Testament. There's more. There's more. In the ministry of Jesus, the passion of Jesus, the bloody sweat of Jesus, the resurrection of Jesus, the love of Jesus, Jesus can say in Luke 10:18, I saw Satan, I saw the accuser fall like lightning from heaven. You see, he no longer can accuse you before the throne of grace. And there is still more, because in Revelation chapter 20, verse 10, it says, the devil was thrown into the lake of burning sulfur. The harpoons and spears have finally arrived. This Satan will meet his maker. This Satan is going down, 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 doobie-doo, down, down. You understand that in the ministry of Jesus and in Palm Sunday victory, and when Christ died, and when Christ rose, and when Christ returns, he will complete it all, and he will throw our mortal enemy into the lake of fire. What's all this mean? It means when Satan rubs your face in your filth, and he reminds you of your past, you remind him of his future. And what is Satan's future? Harpoons and spears. And finally, oh God, finally there is fire. Remember Black Bart? That so-called bloodthirsty bandit who terrorized the Wild West? When authorities finally caught up with him, they didn't find a bloodthirsty bandit from Death Valley. They found a mild-mannered businessman from, of all places, Decatur, Illinois. The papers had pictured Black Bart as romping through the Wild West on his horse, but in reality, Black Bart was so scared of horses, he went everywhere in a horse-drawn buggy. Black Bart, his real name, Charles Bowles, never fired a bullet because he never loaded his gun. In Job chapter 41, we see Satan for who he really is. A vicious monster, you bet. Out to destroy you? Indeed. The great enemy of your soul? No doubt. Does Satan hate Jesus and hate you? Count on it. But you know what? This dragon is defeated. He's got no more bullets in his gun. I'll say it again. This Leviathan has got absolutely no more bullets in his gun. And so we celebrate today, don't we? We celebrate Palm Sunday with great joy. We celebrate with courage and great confidence, and we use these words for the ages. This world's prince may still scowl fierce as he will. He can harm us none. He's judged. The deed is done. One little word. One little word can fell him. And what is that little word? What is that word that brings victory every time? It's got 2 syllables, 5 letters. You know that word, don't you? The word that gives you victory over Leviathan every single time. What's that word? Jesus. 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 Amen.